What is going on, everybody? So, as of last week, the iPhone 15 has officially been announced. Now, I'm not like an Apple guy, so talking about the iPhone in general is just kind of strange for me. I mean, I do have an iPhone, but it's kind of an old iPhone and it goes against the new iterations with all their fancy upgrades like the island, the no button, or headphone jack. But recently, Apple announced the iPhone 15 and made it their duty to focus their announcement event on gaming specifically. And for a while, people were wondering if Apple was going to have some kind of response to the Steam Deck and ROG Ally and Legion Go, like possibly coming out with a portable VR device, which they sort of did, but at the same time sort of didn't because it's $2,500, or even some kind of handheld device. But they already have the Razer backbone for the iPhone, so the only clear thing for Apple to do is to announce a completely new and upgraded iPhone that's capable of AAA gaming. And I really didn't think certain titles could play on an iPhone, but they announced the iPhone 15 and it can play Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village, Assassin's Creed Mirage, all kinds of crazy games. But that's not entirely new, because I think around last year, Apple announced Alien Isolation for their current phones. And a lot of people were saying that it looks and plays better than the PS4 and Switch versions. And it seems like iPhone was capable of this kind of power for a long time, because the iPhone 6S had like 15 teraflops, but the newer iPhones, which is the iPhone 15 and the 15 Pro specifically, will have 35 teraflops. And that's a lot of power to work with. All you need are other AAA studios to properly support the iPhone, just like with Alien Isolation. And it seems like Alien Isolation was just a simple PC port, just maxed out with extra liberties taken to make it look even better than the PS4 and Nintendo Switch versions. And it seems like the OLED screen helps a lot too. So a lot of people want Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and all these other companies to come out with a handheld that has an OLED screen, and the iPhone already has one. It not only has that, but it has the backbone attachment, which is an extra $100, but it is made by Sony and Razer. And I heard those attachments feel extremely good to play video games and to play remote play with. But the iPhone 15 Pro specifically and Max are going to handle a lot of high-profile AAA titles. Now, Resident Evil 4 Remake for the iPhone 15 Pro is only going to support 30 FPS, but I'm pretty sure it's going to have full resolution for the phone, especially the Max, and full fidelity because they're going to add ray tracing to it as well at some point. The second you add ray tracing to anything, it means that the company isn't worrying about graphics anymore, and they're putting in something extra like ray tracing. Although I would like if you can lower the resolution and higher the frame rate for Resident Evil 4, because that is a very high intensity game. And it's weird because I never looked at the iPhone as being a handheld gaming device. I mean, I did own the iPhone 4, 5, and 6, and with gaming, it seemed extremely convenient, especially playing old iPhone games like Infinity Blade, Devil May Cry 4, Metal Gear Touch, if anybody remembers that. And it was extremely convenient because the iPhone is very good at sleep mode and standby mode. In fact, the iPhone is one of the first devices to master sleep and standby mode. Not even laptops mastered it as well as the MacBook and iPhone and iPad. So to see something like the iPhone 15 Pro support a title like Resident Evil 4 Remake, it just opens my eyes to the fact that if I want a new phone, I could possibly have one of the most powerful and small gaming devices available today. And the battery is no joke. You can actually listen to music for 98 hours around that time and play movies for around 25 hours straight. So playing a video game like Resident Evil 4 Remake will most likely make the system hot, but it is using something called a neural engine, and Apple is just really good at simplifying technology and even thermals. Nobody would have guessed the iPhone could have existed if it weren't for Apple. Something like a GPS in the palm of your hands, running on a battery, a mini laptop, and phone in the palm of your hands. They made everything possible for smartphones, and now they're pushing smartphones to their ultimate limit with these titles that are going to be supported on the iPhone 15 Pro. And a lot of people are also wondering if the thermals are going to even support a game like Resident Evil 4 Remake for more than an hour or two. Hey, I think if it runs for more than 2 hours, that's an automatic win. And I'm sure if Apple comes out with anything, or if they release any product, they have thought every kind of way about it, including the thermals. I mean, Apple is the father of the ultimate smartphone. So I'm sure if they announce announce something as groundbreaking as Resident Evil 4 Remake for a mobile device, they can handle it. Because the original iPhone 1S, I believe, or maybe 4, supported a port for Resident Evil 4, and it had most, if not all, of the Resident Evil 4 original stages. The only thing, it was slightly downgraded. So if they use their neural engine and slightly downgrade Resident Evil 4's visuals, but make it look a little more crisp with their OLED screen, like the PS Vita did with Dead or Alive 5, then I don't think anybody would complain about a slight visual downgrade if that means you can play for longer with higher resolutions. Because I'm sure the game is going to be higher than 720p, which would make it a higher resolution than the Steam Deck. But you're playing at 30 FPS, so that's not too much of an upgrade, but getting a higher resolution like with the ROG Ally, playing at 1080p with 60 FPS. Of course, I don't think the iPhone 15 can go to that ridiculous amount of performance, but it will possibly support a higher resolution than 1080p with 30 FPS. But it's not the fact that it can run A or B very well, it's the fact that the system itself is so tiny compared to other handheld PC devices. The iPhone has always been the tiniest handheld PC. I mean, they're $1 trillion company with nothing but time and money to spend. So of course they're going to come out with some kind of ridiculous idea like playing Resident Evil 4 Remake on a tiny device with full, if not even better resolution than its PS4 and Xbox Series X counterparts. But I think Apple in general is just trying to rock the gaming world, and so they're announcing all of these insane titles for their handheld, and all of these Steam Deck owners and ROG Ally owners like me are looking at their systems like, you could have been smaller, you could have ran better games at 10 times less the size all this time. Well, not really. Asus and Valve aren't anywhere as rich as Apple is. This is only possible because Apple is so ridiculously well funded. And the future of handheld gaming is looking extremely interesting. I'm going to try the iPhone 15 Pro specifically. Now, that phone is $1,000, but I would love to see how it plays Resident Evil 4 Remake before I buy it, because that's a very tall order to accomplish. So I'm going to see if I can try a Resident Evil 4 Remake demo in maybe Best Buy or another store that sells iPhones. Hopefully they have the game ready by next week to see if I can actually upgrade my phone to play some Resident Evil 4 Remake on the go. And truly on the go, and truly portable in my pocket. And the iPhone 15 isn't just awesome because of that. It's actually going to support USB-C. So that means I'll be able to dock my iPhone to a television just as easily as I would a Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, or ROG Ally. And most likely easier than that. People will now be able to bring Resident Evil 4 Remake truly on the go without a backpack, without a ridiculous bag for the ROG Ally or Steam Deck, anywhere they want. But it is kind of nuts how we're seeing that the Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, and ROG Ally's biggest competitor might not be each other. In fact, they might just have to work together in order to take down Apple's iPhone 15 Pro. Because if they get more and more titles at a decent price, which they most likely might have better prices on the iPhone opposed to those other platforms, but it is hard to compete with Steam's prices with games. So it might be a long time until we see the App Store have a decent price for, say, Assassin's Creed Mirage or another title like that. But even iPhone and Apple haters are looking at the iPhone 15 and thinking, wow, this is actually impressive. Because I'm kind of one of them. I don't really like Apple and I don't like the iPhone, even though I own one. The only reason I own one is for fitness and for having an Apple Watch. That's it. Other than that, I really don't like using my iPhone. But if I can have a simple interface to have all of my AAA titles on there, I might rethink the whole Apple hate. And I do understand that a lot of people don't want to play in touchscreen mode, and the fact that the iPhone doesn't come with any kind of micro SD slot at all, and you're going to have to rely on the internal space. So most likely, if you want to game on this thing, you're going to have to buy the 1 terabyte model of the iPhone 15 Pro, and that's going to be extremely expensive and most likely very hard to find. So it is going to be a pain in the ass just to make this thing a proper gaming machine, but it does use a USB-C. And I have a ton of USB-C based external drives for my other gaming laptops and handheld. So I can simply connect a 2 terabyte external USB-C drive and add a lot of space and more games onto it. That is some kind of option. But most likely if you want to connect the backbone and an external drive, you're not going to be able to do that. So that does kind of suck. But even though they don't get all the kinks right, like micro SD cards and possibly thermals, it is still extremely impressive to see titles like Resident Evil 4 Remake Village and Assassin's Creed Mirage and Alien Isolation truly on the go and truly portable. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this insane update with Apple and iPhone. And do you think that they will be even more of a competitor when it comes to the mobile gaming space? Because there are a ton of gamers specifically playing games like Call of Duty Warzone on their iPhone. And now they're most likely going to be playing that on their iPhone even more. But now we have single player titles like Alien Isolation and the Resident Evil games coming to the iPhone properly, and not just some kind of half-assed port, but the full title and all of its glory. I think this is a big deal for handheld gaming, but tell me what you think in the comments below. And I hope you guys are having a good one. Thanks for watching. Later.